Hello and welcome. Today, I want to show you how to do prorating costs. Why is this important? Well, when you hear the C word in real estate, closing costs, clients, get stressed. And I feel it's important that if you understand what prorating costs are, then you can also explain this to your client. Then they don't get surprises the day of the closing and they can understand, who has the responsibility for what. I think this is also something that the title company obviously is their job, but I feel like it's important to when you go to a listing and you basically tell the client like, look, this is exactly what's going to happen, and if we close this date, this is basically the cost that you're going to be responsible, and this is the cost that the seller or the buyer is going to be responsible. So today I want to show you an example of how to calculate and hopefully how to explain to your client how to do prorating costs. So let's start. Let me go ahead and share the screen. And I'm going to show you this. Share, see if it shows. Okay, so look at this. Here I build like an Excel sheet with, let me just go ahead and just make this bigger. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let me just give you an example. Let's say that you have the closing day, and the closing day is June the 12th, right? Now, the property taxes are $4,500, and the Homeowners Association has a monthly fee of $600. Who is responsible for who? Well, notice that here you're going to have the taxes are going to be annual, and you have to basically pay that annually. But the association is a monthly expense. So let's start first with the annual expense. Now, the first thing you need to remember is that the whole year, you're going to divide everything always, not by 360, but by 365. This is the most common number, and they call it the 365 method. Now, the first thing you need to do is divide 4,500, and let's say that you have an Excel, that you want to do this in Excel. I'm going to show you how to do it. You put equals, and then you put 465 divided by 365. This is going to give you the daily rate of taxes. Now, the first thing you have to do is to figure out how many days are in January, February, March, and so on, right? Obviously, there are computers and there's software for this, but we're doing this example by hand so we can understand the logic and the math behind it. So look, you do 31, 28 plus 31, you add all of this, right? And then the closing day is on the 12th, so you wanna do it for the 11th. You add up, and then if you want to do this in Excel, you put equals and you put sum, you open parentheses, and then you close parentheses, you put enter. And here you're going to see that there's 162 days from January 1st all the way to the day of the closing. From there, remember, we had 4,500. So who's responsible for who? Well, the seller is going to be responsible for the first 162 days. So here, what I do is that you can click here, you put equal, and you grab this number, you put enter. And then what you're going to do is you're going to multiply, okay, 162 times the daily rate that we found by dividing the total cost by 365. You put enter, and this means that the seller's responsibility for the first 162 days that he was basically holding the property, he has to pay $1,987.26. Now the buyer takes over on the 12th, and then what you do here, did you see this 203? This is how I do it. I do 365 minus 162 because it's going to be the difference of the year. That means that the buyer is now responsible for 200 days for the property taxes. Again, what you do is that you do equals 203 times the daily rate that we figured out at the beginning. You press enter and voila. If you add the days between the seller and the buyer, you should get 365. If you add the property taxes that the seller is responsible and then the buyer is responsible, you should get the whole amount, and that's how you know this is correct. Let's go ahead and do now the Homeowners Association. Now, Homeowners Association sometimes are paid quarterly, or sometimes they're done annually, which, my God, I don't know if I have seen like an annual, but there are some of them. You can have maybe sometimes an association with an association, or if you have a lot, a vacant lot that has like, you know, something attached with an association, you might have to pay a fee. Like we had a lot that you had to pay like a $60 annual fee, but it was just basically to get access to the water, to put it that way. But homeowners association usually also are done monthly. That's the reason why the first thing you have to do is to figure out how many days do you have in June. Well, June has 30 days. Now, obviously, like I said, there are softwares that do this, but this is how you will explain it to your client, like an approximation. And you say, okay, out of those 30 days, 11 days are the seller's responsibility. And the rest of the days are going to be the buyer's responsibility. So the first thing you do, you divide the total cost, and let's do it together. I'm going to do equals to 600, which is the monthly, divided by 30. And this is going to give you the monthly rate, the daily rate of how much the association costs. From there, and let's go ahead and erase this. From there, you go ahead and say, not a problem. 20 times 11 days, because the seller is still there for 11 days. That's his responsibility. And then the buyer is going to be 20 times the difference. Now you can put a parenthesis here and put 30 minus, and then click here. And then voila. The seller is responsible for $220, while the buyer is responsible for $380. And this is when you see the closing statements and you see the debits and credits. So this is basically what it is. I will be making another video about prorating costs and other costs, and basically, you know, how to calculate them and understand them, because I feel this is an important matter for a real estate agent, also for a title company. And I feel if we do something like this in Excel, we can all learn. Thank you so much and have a good day.